Ed Brown, the history. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Ed Brown, the company, the firearm, the 1911. As we know, they make among the best, if not the best, 1911s on the planet. Yes, they are pricey. We know this is almost a $3,000 firearm. I'm glad I purchased it. And I'm not trying to spend anybody's money. I'm just trying to talk about Ed Brown and the history of it and what makes this so special. What makes it different than other high caliber firearms. Now I know we have the Les Bears and the Wilson Combats and the Nighthawks and other high quality firearms. This is not a competition between those manufacturers. This is just focusing in on Ed Brown, which happens to just be, in my opinion, we're all entitled to our opinion, the finest 1911 on the planet. It's just my opinion. So we're not trying to get into a controversy here, which is better. Let me tell you what I like about the firearm. I've owned it now, I don't know, it's been about 6 months, and I've got about 1,000 rounds through it, at least. Probably 400 from other people shooting it. Because as you know, when I go to the range, if you go to my range videos, I'll pass this on to total strangers and say, give me your impression, and you can look at their face expression. It's absolutely amazing. And this is why you pay what you pay for in an Ed Brown. We're going to talk about the actual construction of this firearm and what separates Ed Brown from other manufacturers. And a lot of it has to do with the single word. It's all done by hand. Everything, every single part. Right now we're just zooming in on the gun very closely. My wife's here, thank you for doing this. Say hello.
Hi everybody.
You enjoy doing this, right?
Sure, of course I do.
Okay, thank you. Let's take a look at the other side. Take a nice, good, close look at that. This is the Kobra carry. And it's passed my torture test. It's got a lot of rounds through it. Now the way I'm going to do this discussion on the history of Ed Brown is I'm going to ask my wife to zoom out and look at my whole face, and I do have some bullet points here to look at as I hold the gun. But we want to talk about the history of Ed Brown and the man himself a little bit and the company a little bit. So I'll be glancing up and down here, so bear with me. But for nearly 40 years, the Brown family has been making 1911s, 40 years, okay? Now, Mr. Brown received his FFL and began his business as a part-time gunsmith back in 1968. It was under the name of Brown's Gun Shop. And for 20 years, he worked hard. Evenings, nights, all days, weekends, non-stop, hard. He worked hard to hone his skills. And he got the reputation of being one of the world's finest pistol smiths. You know, as a matter of fact, he worked on what's called a CNC machine. You know, CNC machines, they're milling machines, and he helped program these machines. He's a brilliant man, Ed Brown. And as the story goes, in 1980, by the way, he's not just an engineer, which is, you know, I guess primarily what he is, but he's also, in 1980, he was ranked in the top 16 in the world as far as championship combat shooters. He's the man. I mean, he not only designed guns, and what frustrated him was over the years that the 1911s were second rate in his mind. So he decided to create a 1911 that was second to none. Absolutely second to none. So back in '88, he started to go at this project, and he quit his day job. He took a chance, kind of like what I did way back. Remember when I quit my real job? Remember, that was in '93?
Yep, I sure do.
You said that was crazy. And by '95 you said, pretty smart move, right?
Yes, it definitely was.
Well, within months of him quitting his day job, what brought him to fame, I guess you can call it, or what really brought him into the limelight, was Brownells. Brownells decided to bring all the parts that he was manufacturing into their catalog. We know who Brownells are, including the bobtail. Now, not the bobtail, the beaver tail. The beaver tail is trademarked by Ed Brown, and this really put him on top. When Brownells started marketing some of these products, he started moving some parts. And I gotta tell you, when he won Pistol Smith of the Year in 1991, he started to realize he's got something going here. Brownells has got his backing, Pistol Smith of the Year, and he also announced that he was changing his focus back then, and he wanted to focus on making 1911s. Let's just talk about what separates this 1911 from other 1911s. First of all, let's zoom in real close on the gun again. This 1911, every single part is milled by hand, and it's also torture tested by, I'll call them the gunsmiths at Ed Brown's facility. Their 17,000 square foot facility. The precision manufacturing is second to none. Most of the components are CNC machined from bar stock, which is basically the highest quality steel there is. It is. And Ed Brown firearms are handcrafted for performance. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Take a look at me again one more time, please. We'll keep the video a little short right now. I just wanted your opinion. Would you spend this kind of money on a 1911? I know some people who would rather have one of these instead of 5 other firearms. I'm not saying that's for you. I'm just saying, you know, this is not in everyone's budget. We know that. This is a rare firearm. As a matter of fact, sometimes you have to get in a waiting list. If you special order an Ed Brown, you might wait, I don't know, 3-4 months to get it, even longer. If you happen to find one in stock and it's exactly to your liking, scoop it up if you could afford it. But I'm not trying to spend your money. I'm just trying to say I did purchase one. I took the jump and bought one, and I'm very happy with it. The trigger of everything in this firearm that amazes me the most is the trigger. If you go to my range reviews, I think you'll see that the trigger is the most surprising to every single person who's fired this gun, the range videos. The attention to detail is just absolutely second to none. Would you buy an Ed Brown if you could afford it? Yes or no? Maybe you want something else? What's your opinion? I want to thank Ed Brown himself, because I think you're watching. Thank you for everything you've done for the gun community. I want to thank the company and your family. This company will fire 100, 150, 200 rounds prior to shipping it out before it gets sold, to make sure that the quality control is absolutely perfect. And I like that. Instead of other manufacturers shooting maybe 1 or 2 rounds, okay, good to go, and other manufacturers outsourcing all of their internal products, not all of them, but a lot of them. Ed Brown, every single internal product on this gun is an Ed Brown manufactured product within their 17,000 square foot warehouse. Very special. Anything else I want to tell you? Oh, here's something here. They just invested $8 million to buy a new CNC machine. $8 million. You Google what a CNC machine is. CNC machine. Cat, Nancy Cat machine. You'll see what I'm talking about. Ed Brown is the real deal. And I'm a proud owner. Let me know what you think. Would you purchase one if you could afford it? If you could afford it, would you purchase one? All right, I'm checking out for tonight. And tomorrow night, I have something special coming at you. Bye-bye.